when our foster child was enrolled as a first grader, no, TK, he was 5 years old. He brought home Super B. Super B was a stuffed animal that he had to carry around for a couple of days and then journal about him. So Super B, he carried him around. He would talk about him. He would say, "Hey, Super B, let's go eat lunch together with the family," and then he'd write about him. And then the students all took turns with Super B, and the students would all draw pictures of their family with Super B. So my boy, my foster kid, he was drawing this picture, and I noticed something peculiar because I looked around in that notebook that he was carrying, and in that notebook, if you look at the top picture, that notebook was somebody else's picture of their family with Super B. Super B was a stuffed animal, and you can see Dad on the top left. Dad was this big dad. Then you see Mom. Then you see the kids' names, and then you see Super B, and you kind of see just the progression of size. You see Dad the biggest, you see Mom the second biggest, you see the kids small and adorable as kids are. But then in our foster child, when he drew his picture for us when we had Super B, you see on the bottom, that's the vision, that's the picture he drew. Mom was about, there, Jess. He said me, and if you notice something, that was the biggest. He was the biggest. And then Super B is there, Ollie, you see the dog. And then you see Lita, I'm actually the smallest. And I flipped over page after page after page after page, and every single picture was like the top one. Every single other picture that other kids drew, their dad was the biggest, dad was the biggest, dad was the biggest, they're the small, they're small. But then our foster child that we raised for 9 months and we loved, he drew himself, me, the biggest in the picture. And this is why trauma and our foster child at no fault of his own, and this is very heartbreaking, but because of trauma, because of neglect and abuse in the most extreme way, that you have to be ripped out of your own family and be put into foster care system. He didn't get happiness from adults, he got hurt. Therefore, he made himself big and defiant and used every opportunity to get attention. Look at me, look at me, look at me. Every day was a fight. Every day was a battle. Took his life and his happiness into his own hands. Again, not on any fault of his own, fiercely guarding his independence. This is a picture, family, of us. It's because we've been hurt. We've been broken, and we live in a broken world. We don't trust that God will give us the joy we desire. So we look for attention from others. We posture ourselves and spin our stories and make ourselves look big. We post pictures on Instagram. We try to get followers on Facebook, and we try to do everything we can to get the attention because we think that'll make us happy. We guard our independence. We fiercely guard our time, our talent, and our treasures. We fiercely guard what we have because I got to get mine. Me, me, me. My joy is in my hands. Family, in the beginning of our foster experience, every turn was a battle. He would see us saying no to pizza every day as something bad. He didn't understand that in our hearts, we did everything we did because we loved him. We loved him deeply. And because we wanted the best for him and we wanted him to be happy. So he fought and he fought and he fought. And family, for you and I, if we realize, even in pandemic, God is motivated out of love and wants to see us happy in him. And say, like Paul in Philippians 1:20, to live is Christ, to die is gain. If we can understand that God is motivated out of love, he's working for our joy, then we can start trusting him in this painful time and turn to him for joy. That God ain't chasing us, with a straitjacket, but trying to take ours off. As we pay attention to Him, our anxieties and self consciousness will fall, and we experience the flow in absorption of His beauty and love and majesty and grandeur. So He gets the glory and we get the joy. Can you trust in all of suffering and pandemic and quarantine is an invitation to be who you really are, a child of God? Can you trust in all this suffering, pandemic, and quarantine is an opportunity to experience as your world gets smaller, God gets bigger. When you lose support, freedoms, joys of this world, and even life itself, God is all you have. You realize God is all you need.